Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to Hoffman Reproductions. As you can see, it's a beautiful day here in central Ohio. Fall is in full swing, the leaves are falling, the air is crisp, and many shooters, reenactors, and living historians are thinking about heading to the woods to partake of scouts and various hunts. So along those lines, I thought it would be fun to do a video discussing the tools to maintain and fire this, the flintlock long rifle, more specifically the shooting bag and powder horn. So stay tuned, and that's up next on Hoffman Reproductions. Alright, so let's imagine it's the mid-1700s. You're heading into the wilderness of the western frontier, and one of the essential pieces of gear that you have is a rifle or a smoothbore fowling piece. Now, that's a pretty crucial piece of gear that you need to take care of. If you can't load it and you can't maintain it, it's not going to do you much good. So in order to accomplish that, you need something that is referred to as a shooting bag, or a shooting pouch, or a hunting pouch, or a shot pouch. All those names have been used, but they're all basically the same thing. It's a leather bag that holds all of the tools and ammunition necessary to fire and maintain your weapon. So as far as original hunting bag, shooting bag, whatever you want to call it goes, one of the really good references that you can find to this, to not just civilian use but also military use, can be found in the book that I have here, Of Sorts for Provincials, by Jim Mullins. And on page 43 it states, in June of 1758, Colonel Henry Bouquet wrote to General Forbes, "I have noticed a great inconvenience in the use of cartridges for them provincials. They do not know how to make their cartridges, or rather they take too much time. In the woods they seldom have time or places suitable to make them. These cartridge boxes only hold 9 or 12 charges, which is not sufficient. I think that powder horns and pouches for carrying bullets would be much more useful, keeping the cartridge boxes, however, in use in case of sudden night attack." So there's a good period reference to them being used by not only civilians but military individuals and militia. Now, original bags have several design features. There's only a handful that are thought to actually date from the 18th century. Unfortunately, there's no date stamped on those bags, so we don't really know when they were made. But the ones that seem to be the oldest, or have the most sign of patina, I guess you could say, they tend to be a great deal smaller, and two reasons are thought to exist to back that up, why they're so small. One being the lighter the weight. Of course, that's going to pay dividends if you are hauling everything on your back. If you don't have a horse, if you don't have a canoe or a pack wagon, you're carrying everything on your back. And another, it's common sense speculation, we don't have this in writing, but they would just use the bare minimum to shoot and maintain their bag. You know, they didn't carry a shooting box into the wood, or a range box with all the doodads and fancy odds and ends that shooters are fond of carrying today. It was just the bare essentials would go into these. So that's the two main reasons for the smaller size, usually associated with original bags. As far as their construction goes, most of the originals are made of cowhide, 3/4 ounce cowhide, and popular choice then as it is today. Not all, there are some other leathers that you'll see originals being made of, and again the size tends to be quite small. This is probably just a hair large for original, my personal bag. It measures about 8 by 9. Original bags do tend to be deeper than they are wide. That's one characteristic that is indicative of the early bags from the 1700s. But cowhide, the color, this is dark brown, which is popular nowadays, and of course they had that, but also black, which we've been over in previous videos. That was also a very common color. And one thing to bear in mind when talking about color of bags, just the tanning process in the 18th century, bark or oak tan or vegetable tanning, they're using natural tannins to cure the leather and tan it, and just that simple process will impart a color. You'll have everything using various barks and extracts that will yield sort of a honey amber all the way up to a brownish black, and everything mixed in between. So just the natural tanning process would yield those colors. But today the dark brown is very popular. That's what I have here. This one was made out of 3/4 ounce oak tan leather and has been treated with walnut hulls. It's been cut off of what is thought to be actually a saddle bag, a small saddle bag, and that's what I made mine based on. Again, I gave the rough size there. It's very, very plain. Original bags were very, very simple. All the fancy tooling and bound edges and fringe and lining on the vast majority of the bags that are from the 18th century, they don't have those things. They're very, very plain in construction. My personal bag does have an adjustable buckle on it of my own manufacture. That's a hand-forged iron buckle. Original bags could have iron or brass or nothing at all. There'd be nothing at all wrong with this being a fixed in-place strap. That was common, and of course you wouldn't have to have the additional material expended. One thing I'm a big fan of on a bag is this little tab extending here off of the flap. It doesn't have to have that to work, of course. A lot of originals you'll see the button just through the flap, and I've made a lot of them that way. I just really like to have it a little lower with this flap extension. Nowadays, if I make them, it just makes it incredibly handy and easy to get into the bag. You can pop it right open. Nothing beats a button, by the way, in the woods to keep your flap shut. Once I'm shooting, or if I'm in a reenactment on the battlefield, I'll of course undo it so I can get right in there. But when walking around or in the woods, nothing beats a button. And this is just a simple colonial copper flat button. Nothing fancy. No engraving or anything on it. So that's the outside. Now as far as the inside goes, again, because original bags tend to be smaller, the list of accoutrements that they would carry naturally has to be smaller because you couldn't fit that much in these things. So I thought it'd be fun to just go through mine real quick. Everybody's different when it comes to this stuff. One thing you'll notice, I don't have anything hanging off of my bag. I don't like to carry a vent pick or whisk or patch knife or anything. Some guys do. I'm sure there were some originals those things were present on, but personally I don't like anything hanging on my bag. The only thing that I have hanging on the outside of my shooting accoutrements is just my powder charger. That's it. That's all I like to have flopping around. Small tin oil bottle, you need that for the moving parts of your lock, also to lubricate the barrel, so small tin oil bottle. This is a combination tool. This form of this one, not historically correct to the 18th century. I do have one that is, although for whatever reason I couldn't find it, but it combines a turn screw, a flint knapping hammer, and a vent pick all in one, so it cuts down on the items that you have to use and carry. Some grease patching in case I'm loading one up that's going to be in the barrel for a while. If not, then I would just use spit. I like to carry pre-cut patches, that way I don't have to mess around with trimming them. A toe worm, and for those that aren't associated with that, that fits on the end of your ramrod, and it works with this product here, which is a byproduct of spinning linen that looks like a bird's nest. You'd wad up a little bit of that on the end of your toe worm, affix it to your ramrod, and that is what you would clean your gun with. A little bit of water and scrub it up and down, followed up by some grease or oil, and that's how you would clean your weapon in the 18th century. Loading blocks. If I'm on a reenactment or I'm on the trail scouting or camping, whatever, I don't carry these. Shooting blocks have been linked to the 18th century. There's some originals that we can verify existed, so I will carry these if I'm planning to do a lot of shooting. So that's kind of an optional item depending on if I need it. Speeds up the loading and shooting process. Small leather ball bag with a squeeze top. That'll hold 25 rounds of my .45 caliber ammunition for my rifle. Because I don't carry a lot, that's where I keep my fire starting kit. It's very, very small. There's an English striker in there that's just a teeny little thing, but it generates enough sparks to get a fire going. So I keep that in my shooting bag. That way, if I need to make a fire for any reason, I'm good on that. That's about it, other than my folding knife. I carry this down in the bottom of the pouch. This is an original from the 1700s, and I don't use it to trim patches. I keep this as a backup blade to my main knife, or I will use this for clean food preparation. Say I've field dressed a critter, or carving on wood or digging in the dirt with the main knife. Well, I keep this one clean, and then I can cut up any food that's been cooked or whatnot, or need vegetables that need prepped or whatever. I've always got a clean blade in addition to a backup to my main knife. The patch box on my rifle I utilize to keep and store several extra flints and leathers for the jaw of my lock down there. A lot of guys just use this as a decoration, but it's there, so I go ahead and use it that way. No matter where I'm at, I've always got a couple of extra flints should I need them right there in the butt of my rifle. One last feature of my shooting bag I'd like to show you. You can see the outline, at least I hope you can, on the back of the bag. There is a small interior pouch in there. It's just a teeny little thing, but that really comes in handy for storing things such as paper cartridges at a battle reenactment, or any of those smaller items that I want to keep separate from the main bag. So probably not a feature that was real common on the early bags, but one that I have incorporated into my own personal bag there. So the powder horn, just real quickly, we could have a video all on powder horns, and maybe we'll do that. Mine is a copy of one from 1746. It's an early horn. Has a hemp woven strap and a carved antler tip measure that throws 50 grains for my rifle. Alrighty, so real quick before we sign up, here some up close shots of my gear. That's the bag. Moving down, we got the horn and powder measure, and the small items that I carry in the interior of the bag. The rifle, just in case you were wondering, is a Jim Chambers early Virginia rifle. It has a black walnut stock, brass hardware, colonial Virginia round face lock, and has a 42-inch octagonal to round .45 caliber barrel, and shoots pretty good. Alright everybody, so that's going to do it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. That way you'll get the notifications when the videos come out, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye now.